What's up, YouTube? This is Ultimate Shield 340 back at it again, and I wanted to make another video to further explain about the Future Initiative gear set and why I chose what I chose, as well as to sort of showcase my build in action. So we'll start off by going ahead and looking at the build. So as you can see here, we have the specialization of the Survivalist to increase the amount of heals, the outgoing heals, which is 10%. I have the blue screen, Future Initiative, Future Perfection, which is the mechanical animal, as the secondary. And then I have the four-piece Future Initiative skills, where I have repair skills. And on this particular one, I have skill duration and repair skills, BTSU gloves, and the safeguard backpack talent. So in the original video, I talked about why I chose the backpack talent over the Future Initiative backpack. So Safeguard, it actually gives me a bigger pool of repair skills rather than what the backpack talent would actually give me. I believe the backpack talent is going to increase the Safeguard distance, I believe. Where is it? It's ground control, but it is going to increase the 5-minute radius at the second half of this text to give me, a wider range where I'm actually healing people in, a radius around me. So instead of that, I decided to opt out to increase the amount of pure healing that I do to further support the team. Which is the reason why I chose to get the Alps Summit backpack, which is the 20% repair skills, as well as the safeguard talent, and roll with it on that. Now, the other part that I wanted to go ahead and bring you to your attention was the ground control aspect of the Future Initiative chess piece, and why I chose this over something else. So as you can see, it increases the ground control damage bonus from 15% to 25%. And essentially, I'm giving 25% total weapon damage and total skill damage to my allies whenever I am at full armor. And the reason why I chose that particular talent over something else is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video and kind of explain that a little bit, right? So oftentimes I talk about whenever you're adding a build or you're making a build, I challenge you to think about why you want to go ahead and add those things to your build as opposed to other things. And the idea is that once you start making your builds or whatever it may be, you want to maybe think about, this is what I want my build to do, but how can I push it further, right? So when I am using the Future Initiative gear set, my thought is I want to be able to increase the amount of healing that I do, and then provide the most amount of buff to my team. Because in this build, I am not the one that's going to be doing damage. I'm going to be relying on my teammates to do that. And what other way can I support them using this gear set is to buff their weapon damage and their skills using the chess piece talent, which I had already explained why. But let's just say, you might be asking me, so hey, why not use something like kinetic momentum, right? As you can read the talent, it says whenever in combat, each skill generates a stack while active or not on cooldown. Stacks increase your total skill damage by 1% and total skill repair by 2%, up to 15 stacks per skill lost when on cooldown. So 15 times 2 is 30%. Now, while it will increase my total repair skill, the skill damage on this part is wasted on me. I'm not going to be doing any skill damage. In fact, I don't have any skills on this build that's actually going to do any skill damage. So to me, I felt like since that's a wasted slot, I want to choose something else beyond beyond just using this as the chess talent, right? And if you look at it, it's the 30% skill repair that I'm going to get is overshadowed by the backpack talent, in which I had already expressed to you before. Whereas with my safeguard talent, I'm at 100% repair skill, which is a significant increase over the kinetic momentum chess talent. Not to mention that while I'm here, I wanted to mention that at this point, that I have 100% repair skills. It is of my personal opinion that I have reached the maximum amount of skill repair that I wanted to go ahead and get. Because if you look at the skills, you'll notice that my hive does 419k healing. And then also the reinforcer chem launcher does about almost 1.5 million heals, and then I do about 282,000 heals over time, which for most people in most tank builds, that's just the initial burst itself will heal up most people, especially if those all red builds. Most people are kind of fond of running, and a lot of full yellow builds that'll be more than enough to heal those guys up. But then it'll also heal up most tanks from the initial burst and then the subsequent tick from the reinforcer chem launcher. So at this point, I've maxed out on the amount of healing that I feel that I should be able to provide, and so therefore I wanted to sort of go down a further path and sort of move more toward the team support role, where I'm buffing the team, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I decided to choose the chess talent, as I had keep the future initiative chess talent as opposed to something else like kinetic momentum. Same thing goes for empathic resolve. If I had taken this as a chess talent, you can go ahead and get the weapon and skill damage buff to 15% for 20 seconds and 7% for self, which is great. But again, you get 25% weapon and skill damage using the chess talent. And again, the 1 to 7% for my own self is great, but I'm not doing any significant weapon or skill damage, so for me I felt like that was a waste. Another honorable mention is Overwatch, where if I had stayed in cover for 10 seconds, you can go ahead and increase the total weapon and skill damage by 12%, as long as I either remain in cover or in a cover to cover move. Again, same kind of concept. I am going to be able to give a bigger bonus, and I don't even have to be in cover with 25% using the chess talent alone. I don't think there's any other chess talents here that's worth mentioning that would increase either the uh, skill damage or repair or anything like that. So that's the reason why I chose the chess talent as I did. And so again, anytime you're making a build or whatever, I go ahead and I highly recommend that, if you make a build, think about how you can, what purpose is my build trying to achieve here? And once I find out what that purpose is, not only take it to that level, but then push it as far as you can. And once you've hit that cap, right? For me, the cap was getting it to the amount of repair skills that's available that will heal most people and will keep us all safe and healthy and topped off. And once I reach that level, what more efficiency can I pull out of the build to make it just that much better, right? Now I'm sure there's other people out there in the division who has either run a similar setup to mine or even better than this. And if there's anybody else whose build that you think is important or interesting to look at, by all means feel free to either comment it or link it. I'll be more than happy to take a look at it and then kind of compare it to my build and see if there's room for improvement on my end. And again, I just want to go ahead and reiterate, I am no build Nazi by any means. I want you to play the game and use your builds in the way that you feel that you need to do it, and it should be based upon your personal play style. So as long as you're having fun, as long as you're having able to clear the content, and as long as you are able to make a significant and meaningful impact to your teammates and not hinder them in any significant way, then I think that you're doing the right thing and doing on that build path. Again, one last thing I wanted to go ahead and add to, well, two things. Again, the overclock skill, you'll get the overclock once you detonate the charge, and I typically will wait until the overcharge is either done before I then proc the future perfection talent. Both of these skills will both give you overcharge, but I usually try and spread it out so that it'll give my allies more time with a higher uptick on their skills and things like that, which is again another reason why I thought to myself, hey, this is the build and this is the direction that I'm going. Now that I've both maxed out the build to give the highest amount of skill repair that I can give, and I have given myself and my teammates the most amount of team support I can by giving them 20% weapon and skill damage. How can I make this build just a little bit better? And the answer to that question for me was the Future Perfection talent, in addition to the overclock mechanic that we have here using the BTSU gloves and the Hive. So that's the reasoning behind the build. That's the idea, and of course the TDI card with the skill tier, and it has the reformation talent here just in case I need a little bit extra on the heals for whatever reason. I have that on demand. And one last thing I wanted to add is the skill duration mod that you see here. Again, at this point, I have gone through as much as I can as far as the repair skills and the team support. Now, how can I make my heals just that much better? By increasing the duration. The longer these, Kim charges are out, the more my teammates are getting healed, the longer they're standing in the cloud. And so that's the idea behind the build, and to my opinion, I've done everything that I can to use the most amount of efficiency out of this build and to get as much as I can out of the build. So that's the build, that's the idea behind it, and I wanted to expand on that. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and add some gameplay here for you as well so that you can see the build in action. So I'll be back. So here we are, Legendary Mission, using that Future Initiative build that I had spoken to you about before. I actually forgot to start to record a little bit before I started, doing all this. So there is a little bit of footage that you're missing here, but no big deal. It is what it is. So in this showcase of the build, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to sort of give you an overview of sort of what my thought process is and what I'm doing while I'm doing it, right? So we have Black Tusk going ahead to go ahead and push on us. Using one of the things I actually forgot to mention is why I chose the blue screen. One of the reasons why I chose the blue screen is because, first off, as you know, the talent is able to go ahead and kind of stun the enemies and go ahead and provide a little bit of CC, and I actually get the bonus of the blue screen using any of my skills. So anytime I put down the Hive or use one of my healing the charges from the Chemtech, it causes the people to be stunned and things like that. So that's a reason why I chose it. And so you can kind of provide a little bit of CC and a little bit of damage. Granted, you're not providing a whole lot of damage, but you are providing that extra little benefit of CC. So one thing that you'll notice here that I am doing that's probably not a good idea is that I am being too aggressive as the healer. So I need to, kind of know my place, kind of take a step back, and, go ahead and step back and support my teammates and don't get killed. So in this part, I switch to my mechanical animal to go ahead and try and proc the the Future Perfection talent. It unfortunately doesn't work on enemy skills like you just saw. I was kind of hoping that it would go ahead and proc there, but I actually forgot that does not work. And I am able to, kind of shoot down low health enemies. That is one downside about this build, even though I don't get a whole lot of damage. It is actually fairly difficult to proc the Future Initiative, the Future Perfection, I'm sorry, the Future Perfection skill here on the mechanical animal. I always try and focus on who are low health enemies, either purples that are about to die. Obviously, of course, I always focus down reds. Even with the amount of damage I have in this build, with the damage to target out of cover, you get that little bit of damage that you can go ahead and use on those reds to, really lock those guys down and, kind of proc it off. So in this room, again, I'm kind of out of place, but again, this is where the blue screen shines. I'm able to sort of lock down these dogs using the Chemtech charges and the blue screen effect to build the stacks, then use the talent to try and heal myself, but also then to lock down these guys. It's a big, bonus for my teammates. So, I'm being aggressive. I'm actually kind of fighting kind of dumb, but because I know I can use a blue screen to go ahead and kind of lock this guy down, I'm gonna, you know, kind of play a little bit more aggressively and, try and do all that. As you've noticed there, I did switch to my mechanical animal. Reason being is because I get the damage target out of cover. Although the blue screen does also then provide that, the idea is that, I'm not going to be able to proc my, blue screen ability once the dog dies, and it would be highly unlikely that I would also then proc the future perfection weapon talent using the mechanical animal because of how long it takes for the dog to go ahead and explode after it's been killed. So that's why I kind of did what I did to sort of save the overcharge mechanic for that. So in this next room, you'll go ahead and see the NPCs will go ahead and rush us. I am going to put down the healing turret to go ahead and, kind of heal all the allies. Now, one thing that you want to think about whenever you're pulling down these healing turrets is that, you want to position it in such a way where your whole team can get the maximum benefit. So it's actually healing both the two people in front of me and me, my own self. And I believe the person behind me is actually out of range. But, that's when the good old Chemtech comes into play and you're able to heal that person. Right now I'm just trying to figure out where I can proc the future perfection talent. As you just saw, when that icon shows up on screen, you know that it is active, and you can also look down at the bottom of the screen and see that the future perfection talent is active, that the talent is highlighted in yellow. And if you take a look at your backpack, you'll see that, it looks like a lightning bolt sort of emblem. And then you can kind of visibly see that your, skills are on overcharge. I usually try and proc the overcharge mechanic whenever you, tight, tough enemies. There's a lot going on. Like right now, this would be a great time to proc that, which I noticed looking back at the gameplay after I had started to sort of do this that, I didn't actually proc the hive, use the BTSU gloves overcharge mechanic as often as I probably should have. But it is what it is. Hindsight's always 50-50. One thing about the healer build is that you are on resurrection duty. Since you do not put out that much damage, it is your job as the healer to go ahead and res the, people who are down, right? And I know that kind of goes to be, without being said, but, I just thought I'd go ahead and mention that just in case, for any new players who's out there and they're kind of, going, a lot of things are going on, and, in the heat of battle, things can get very hectic. So I just wanted to put that out there where, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you can see my allies' health and, kind of keep track of that without, you don't have to visibly see them, but you can kind of keep track of their health. So anytime you need to heal them or whatever, you can, kind of focus on doing that as opposed to trying to put out more DPS. So right now I'm looking for my hive. And it looks like I got all the charges. The overcharge is procced using the hive mechanic skill, as you can see using my bar, and we're just going to move on to the next area. So I know for a fact the ads are going to come out this doorway, so I allow my teammates to set up, and I sort of position myself in a way to go ahead and throw out the healing hive. All my teammates are healed, and I can kind of position myself to take cover and then look after my teammates and heal them as needed. So the ads come in, we kind of do our thing, and as you can see that, hive turn is going in and doing what it does. The idea here is going back to what I had said earlier before about using your signature weapon. There's future perfection proc yet again. Whenever you see heavies and things like that, you might want to go ahead and take out your signature ammo, signature weapon, and then hit them to go ahead and crack their armor as fast as possible, so you can kind of burst down those large targets. So that was the idea, but for whatever reason, I decided to shoot the side of the wall. And yeah, it is what it is. So we're going to continue forward, moving into the next area, pick up any loot that we have that's available, and we're just going to keep on moving. All right, so we get into this next room. Go ahead and immediately throw out my healing highs. Thank God I did. One of our group mates, he kind of got smoked there, but no big deal. Back to full health. At this point, I am thinking about trying to overcharge my hive. That is one problem that I would say, about trying to activate the overcharge mechanic. If you're too close, you'll just pick up your hive rather than you trying to, overcharge it. As you can see, I actually did overcharge it. Not only did the icon come up on screen, but if you look at the bottom left hand corner, like where my stats are, it's that, like, I don't know what to call it, but it looks like a plug of some sort. It's lit up, or it was lit up, but now it's off, signaling to me that not only was it on overcharge temporarily, but it's unavailable to detonate the hive using that skill to get the overcharge mechanic going on again, and then for my team to be able to benefit from that. So right now I'm just marking targets, just trying to make sure I'm providing what little minuscule damage that I am able to provide to my teammates, but also the purpose of this is to also CC any of the guys that are coming out, the ads and everything, making sure that whenever they do become stunned or that I trigger the blue screen's effect, they are out in the open and my teammates can go ahead and burn them down ASAP. You'll see me using the mechanical animal again to trigger the overcharge mechanic with it, but the future perfection talent, I'm sorry, but unfortunately I wasn't able to secure the kill. That's okay though, you'll just have to keep trying to do your best to go ahead and do that. As you can see here, Chung is out. I'm gonna go ahead and CC him by throwing down the healing Chemtech skill, and then all the ads are taken care of. So we're gonna go ahead and keep moving forward and see what the next room has to offer. All right, so the next part is this room right here. Anytime you throw out the healer skill again, just make sure that you position it in such a way where all your teammates can get the benefit from it. One thing, as we've gotten further and further in this mission, one thing that I did notice is that there is one of my teammates who, as you can see, he's a little bit further ahead, who is out there and he's being aggressive and he's pushing against the enemy team. That's great, fine and dandy, but you also gotta be sure to protect yourself at all times. And and when I say this, I don't want you all to think that I'm like trying to knock a player or anything like that. That's certainly not what this is. But one thing I would want to go ahead and sort of challenge your thinking and sort of make you aware about something. I can't help but to feel that player is getting a bit more aggressive because he knows I'm a dedicated healer, which is fine. Again, the whole purpose of this is to go ahead and provide support for the team and increase our odds that we're able to go ahead and sort of win the day, right? But based upon how you're playing, you could be a little bit, encouraging them to be a little bit more reckless. I say that as I am also getting smoked here on screen, as you can see. But you just got to be careful. Although we've been gotten ourselves in a pretty good groove, we're getting through the content, no big deal. Just make sure that you're not being overconfident and getting yourself into tight spots, both like the other player did as well as me. Another thing you want to go ahead and make sure, again, you are the one who is supposed to be rezzing people. As the healer using the future perfection, that's just simply my opinion. Future perfection, you're supposed to be the one rezzing people because the other people provide so much more DPS than you do. So go ahead, res those guys. We're gonna go ahead and push forward. As you can see, the benefit of the gear set and the chest piece talent, we are, going ahead and, our DPS output is very good. We were able to clear through that room very fast. Chung's went down. We had to kind of back up just a little bit, but, we were able to just kind of move forward and do what we have to do to go ahead and, move forward. So we're going to go into the next room. And the next room is, I believe, it's where, like, the pool tables are and the enemy team. Yeah, here we are. So the enemy team's on this other side. So I always remember there's a dog out there somewhere, probably off to the right. But again, make sure that you put your healing turret out there for your benefit, so that the team can get the maximum amount of benefit. I'm here trying to proc the Future Perfection talent. I didn't get it that time. That's unfortunate, but you gotta either keep trying or get something else. There it is. It's proc now. As you can see from both my backpack, you see that little yellow icon, knowing that it is active. And then you can also look at the bar down at the bottom where the Future Perfection talent is now highlighted. So yeah, we're gonna keep going on, being aggressive against the enemy team. Hive's out there doing its skills, and I'm stacking up blue screen so I can go ahead and stun the enemies as they come out. I'm just gonna get a reload. I've sort of gotten myself into the habit with blue screen where if I got a lot of stacks like you just saw before, I'll reload before I actually trigger the effect. And that's kind of a groove I've personally gotten myself into to help me, get the maximum benefit of the stun duration. So, again, something to think about as you continue to move forward. Again, blue screen stacked. Go ahead and heal. I know they were all full health, but it was to proc the blue screen's effect and to go ahead and make sure that those targets are out of cover, stun, locked, and our team can go ahead and smoke them down. Again, player ahead is being a little bit too aggressive, playing a little reckless. It's okay, though. I'm keeping an eye out, making sure he's healed, using the Chem Tech, and, we just keep going forward. So, yeah, we're just in a good groove right now. We're just going to keep doing this. All right, so I decided to skip ahead to show the final boss and what we did to overcome this particular foe. The reason why I wanted to cut it a little bit shorter is because this video was already running a bit long, so I just wanted to kind of move forward and, sort of show you the end of the encounter and show you what kind of happened here. So at the start, we run in, go ahead and put down my healing hive where, a lot of my teammates can go ahead and get a benefit from it. I'm going ahead and try and shoot down this drone. Again, I have terrible aim, so don't judge me when my teammates get smoked. And my job here is to try and go ahead and mark as many targets as I can, build up as many stacks of blue screen as I can, shoot down the enemy proxy skills, and res teammates as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and as soon as he gets back up, he should be healed, and I'm going to go back to marking targets. Now, my teammate here is getting hurt, so, I was aware of that, so went ahead and healed him up, made sure that my healing hive was in a better position. It's important that you pick those up and get it to the right places so your teammates can benefit. So that's what I did there. I'm going to go ahead and continue to try and mark enemies as I see them. Prioritize high damage targets like snipers, grenadiers, and I see this next wave is coming, so I use this opportunity to try and proc the Future Perfection talent by killing these reds. Again, I have terrible aim. Don't judge me. And I'm trying to do my best to find a red, but it doesn't look like I was able to be successful. I do wish that I was able to proc the Future Perfection talent shooting down those skills like that, but, beggars can't be choosers, and, it's a part of the game. So, teammate goes down. I think he's being overconfident again, but, it's no big deal. Making sure that my other teammates are healed before I go on my rescue mission, and make sure I'm reloaded, and then use the cover to cover to not only cover a lot of ground, but, try and get to a good position where I can go ahead and save my teammate. Good news is, Next wave is coming, but they're not quite down yet. So I go ahead and res him up. And once I do that, I get back into cover to cover. Use the cover to cover system to reposition myself again in a good position and put down the healing turret. As you can see here, using the cover to cover did allow me to not only cover a lot of ground, but do so safely. I might not have been the target of all the NPCs' attacks or anything like that, but, you know, I still would have been able to get through it without, you know, too much damage or, you know, getting killed. So, boss is down. Future Perfection Talent is now up and running. You can see by the lightning on the back, as well as the Future Perfection Talent lit up on the bottom of my status screen. And we're gonna go ahead and kill all the ads. So, at this point, we're just trying to prioritize killing the ads, or at least that's what I'm trying to do. I'm also trying to mark the boss so that whenever blue screen effects goes off, it will go ahead and trigger him as well, and then he goes and he's stunned for my team to go ahead and beat up on. I absolutely hate this boss. This boss is one of my least favorite bosses in the entire game, purely because of the amount of healing he can do to himself, the amount of time it takes to shoot that backpack off that does the healing, and as I am noticing here, I'm shooting him with blue screen and I'm not building stacks as fast as I can because you need to get a headshot on him, and at this point it's really not worth it. I'll actually be served better using my mechanical animal to try and put DPS on the boss. The mechanical animal has the damage to target out of cover, which admittedly blue screen does as well, but you know, it just makes more sense for me to go ahead and try and, you know, utilize a mechanical animal rather than the blue screen. But as you can see here, I'm still trying to do my best. I get smoked by the boss's skill there. Another one of those things that I hate from that boss. So I decided I wanted to go ahead and reposition myself and, you know, just get to a better spot. Just want to go ahead and take the time to thank everybody who's watched the video up until this point. I really appreciate it. I know this isn't the most exciting build video. I mean, well, it's not really a build video, but it's not the most exciting video, especially because you can see that I'm doing this from the healer's perspective. Gonna head healing teammates out there in the distance. Again, I wanted to go ahead and thank all the commenters who are usually on my videos as well. Rich85, Sloth Moods, of course, Ronan Kazi. And if there's anybody I missed, I do apologize. I do appreciate you guys for commenting on my videos, watching the videos. It's pretty cool seeing you guys, seeing all of us all sort of make videos and content, and we're all influencing each other. It's actually really cool. I didn't even, you know, want to get into making like a YouTube like video like on a regular basis, but I was inspired to sort of, you know, make a few videos here and there whenever I have a little bit of free time by watching another commenter, one of my frequent commenters, Ronan Kazi, make his videos, and I decided I wanted to make my own. So to anybody who's thinking about, you know, making some videos, just I would recommend that you do it. It's actually a pretty fun hobby whenever you have a little bit of free time, and you know, it all contributes to the greater Division community, so it's always good to have those people who are, you know, keeping the game alive, keeping the game fun, and sort of giving their own perspective of the game and the state of the game and why they do what they do and things like that. So I'll go ahead and I'll let the rest of the video play out. Thank you for your time. This is Ultimate Shield 340 signing off, and I guess I'll see you in the Dark Zone. Peace.